as far as the kids, you know, what you're looking at here, I try to do a little bit of religion, but not too much. I just kind of show them enough from different aspects. So for example, you know, there's the Persian sun catcher. We'll talk about the Persian culture, and that piece itself is from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's from Iran, and it was from an important building. If you scroll down, oh, sorry, just to give you some examples, we don't have to go through, I think you have to go back. And I don't really do, like, I don't try to concentrate too much on Islam on my website itself, even though, like, if I talk about, you know, like this one over here on the left, the Katham, you know, the piece that I showed earlier, which has the 8 points, which is so easy to teach kids, because it's basically two squares offset each other, and kids can make that so easy. And then when you tell them, oh, it's a pattern, and you do this, and then you show them how it's, you know, on the walls of mosques, and then you start bringing in Escher and all that kind of stuff, they get really excited about what lines can create. And then if you go back, I think I pull up, I love the Katham. The Katham is just so easy with kids. But see, I do even stuff like Islam, the 5 pillars. But if you go down, I also do stuff like about Christmas, you know, because I'm trying to show the variety of this world that we live in. We do I have to say, I don't do Jewish religion because they use Hebrew. And so I do Arabic because, you know, the Arabs, the Christians use, you know, Arabic at Christmas. So they say, you know, Arabic words. But I do all of these things, you know, it's like books on Eid al-Adha, maybe caking cake pox. There's a Libyan egg carton. I mean, made out of egg carton. But in the meantime, the kids are learning about the flag. They're learning about the culture. So I'm trying to get them young. I'm trying to get them, you know, trying to put the glue sticks in their hand very early. And then as they're, you know, gluing down this stuff and playing with this stuff, maybe you teach them a little bit about, you know, scroll down, like I think the cardboard home telescope is a brand new book that had come out from, I want to say,
I missed it. Have I gone past it?
Yeah, I think it's further. No, it's cardboard home telescope right there. But then it's like, you know, the Iqra, you know, Baba, telling them what Baba means. So the website really is, it's a free resource. Everything on it is free. Alhamdulillah, I am able to provide for the money to pay for the resources for the website when I do ads, and, you know, all these different types of money to pay for it. So I am able to make it free. And so any parent can go in and type anything, you know, the Allah glass, they'll learn about Allah, they'll learn about Eid. Sorry, I seem to have gone through a whole Eid section here. But, you know, the Bismillah round placemat, we learn about Bismillah, we learn about how we use it. But in the meantime, the kids are using scissors to cut. Because not very many parents will put scissors in kids' hands, which drives me crazy when I teach art and I've got second graders and you have to spend part of the class teaching them how to use scissors. It's like, you know, give kids scissors.
I completely
The kids X-Acto way before. But anyway, so yeah, you see more Kathams.
What is this culture?
I do a camp in my house and in my community for kids, and I take a dozen kids and we bring them over and we do all of the activities with them. And at the same time, we talk about all the different countries, all the different religions, you know, all the different areas that are in that, in our beautiful countries.
Have you noticed that people's attitudes began to change towards art while you were doing it? Like, were the family?
It really depends. You know, it's so funny because sometimes I'll put up something Christmas and then the Muslims are like, why are you doing Christmas? I'm like, you know, it's not a crafty Muslim, it's a crafty Arab. There are tons of Muslim-only sites that spend a lot of money going into really amazing details about what the surahs mean, what this is for, and what is that. And I don't want to do that. I'm like trying to skirt the surface for teachers to be comfortable. And I had a teacher on Instagram send me their photos that they took one of my painting lessons and did an entire lesson plan about it. And to me, that's like the biggest thrill, that this teacher was sitting there talking about, you know, Islamic art with kids and showing them different kathans and showing them different mosques, because that wouldn't be something that that teacher would have maybe looked for 5-10 years down the line. So I am proud of that. I am proud that I have that resource out there, but there's definitely pushback. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
did, the most famous one is Libya, of course. Nadi al-Nabi. I did the candle, you know, with the fingers with the candles, and people are a little upset about that because that was due
Why?
Christmas. So it's like, you know, you try to show everything. You try, this is what some people celebrate. You know, some people in Turkey dance in circles, and that's part of it too. So
Yeah.
you just try to show them everything, and you realize that along the line, you just can't please everybody.
Do you notice differences depending on the type of country? Like, obviously, to generalize, obviously there's differences in every country, but if you were to generalize, do you notice more pushback from a specific Arab demographic more than another?
Not really pushback. I do have, not really, I wouldn't say favorite countries, but I do have countries that if I post about it, the people from that country are definitely much more like, oh, sharing, and look what, this is what my flag looks like, or this is what, of course, the one that is always the most popular is Palestine, because anything you do Palestinian people love sharing their flag. So any kind of post, they'll share about that. So it really just depends on how I reach people. The whole business is me, myself, and I. Horrible marketer. I really am. So am I finding, like if I put a post up, am I finding the Palestinians? Am I finding Libyans? Am I finding the Arab Christians? But I really just kind of throw it out there and just kind of see what people react to. And that's the same with my art. It's all, if you want to flip over to the other link I sent you, I do very reactionary art. For example, this one piece, I'm sorry about the glare, but it's in glass. It says Inshallah, and it's in Arabic calligraphy. And I did it in reaction when that guy was thrown off the plane for saying it on his phone to his uncle. And I wanted to give the word power, so I put it around red. And I put it in an art show, and people went nuts over it. They were like, what is that? What does it say? And what is it? So then you have to sit back and explain the meaning behind the piece, which then brings up a whole conversation about who's allowed on the planes and what they're allowed to say and what they're allowed to have on their t-shirts. I did a piece for the whirling dervish. He's really hard to see because he's in white. I'm so sorry, but I don't know if you can get him. And again, it was I have pictures of him. I'll try to put him up. It was another piece that people were like, oh, it's a dancing person. Why are you putting dancing people? I'm like, well, if you go to Turkey, you really can't avoid them. They're kind of everywhere. And they're part of Islam. And so that brings up a whole, other conversation. Putting the word Allah in various forms and asking people to find them. I think this one is actually on the website. This is the blue one. Putting, the word Allah, hiding it, not hiding it, but just kind of making it part of the artwork. That's the blue one up there, yeah. Making it a part of the artwork that then it's hidden, but then people have to really kind of look for it, which is really kind of the whole point of religion, of really finding, your own religion. It just kind of looks like a circle to people, right? You don't even know what it is. But I would say one of my most controversial pieces was a piece, actually I had it in a gallery in Seattle. And it's a co-op that I belong to. Unfortunately, I don't have it on this. This is Suzanne Czar was a show that I did last December. This is a show I did I think it was March. And this is a gallery of African artists. And so I and one other Tunisian are the only North Africans in the gallery. There's 300 artists. So the artwork is predominantly very African. And so when they are always asking me, you know, bring Arabic, bring Arabic into our gallery, bring Arabic into the artwork, because it's definitely missing. So after Trump decided that my country was called shithole, I decided that I would take the power back from him, and that I would put the power back in Africa. And so I created this piece. The whole thing is Africa, but if you can see it, it's supposed to be grain, like, you know, a whole field of grain.
Yeah, yeah. That's really.
And it's all about the power of Africa and how we've used Africa. We've taken its people, we've taken its food, we've taken everything from it. After we take everything from it, we still label it with this horrible, horrible name, right? Like, we abuse it, we take everything from it. It's still incredibly gorgeous. However, when the shitholer is gone, the word is gone too, because the power of the grain is more powerful than the word. And the grain will be here much, much longer than he will be, and he will be long gone. This is for the Libyans, of course. We've, you know, had our little sewer moment. We'd like to replicate it. And so this is probably one of the pieces that has brought the most conversation. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that it was in this African space, and it created this whole conversation with African Americans. And as I don't know if everybody heard mention, I live in Seattle, which is predominantly white. There's very few African Americans. And so that started a whole other conversation, you know, about the power of words, the power of specifically of Arabic words and the origin of them and how long they've been a part of society.
Kholoud, I was just going to ask you, do you typically find Libyan audiences to be more conservative?
The Libyan audience, I haven't really found, to be honest with you. In Seattle, there are very, very few of them. When they do, you know, you find out about a show or something, but they will definitely be supportive. But let's be honest, half of them are related somehow. So, you know, they do come out and are supportive. But no, the audience tends to be very international. Like the exhibit here that I had at Suzanne Bar, where I had these 6 pieces that are up on the screen, was on Mercer Island. And Mercer Island in Seattle is predominantly Jewish. They have one of the highest concentration of synagogues in Seattle. And so that was that audience that came out to that. And so that was pretty interesting talking.
Did they relate to it? Did they relate to it as a Jewish audience?
To the 2 lower pieces, yeah. Of course, the geometric pieces is very prominent in a lot of architecture in the area. You know, those pieces. But the Arabic writing, the white pieces, definitely intrigues people. Those 2 pieces sold right away, and it's just fascinating to me that it's such a simple word. The word is simple. The artwork, of course, took me like a couple of, you know, weeks to try to figure out. But such a simple word would mean so much. And then, you know, of course, the piece has a deeper meaning because you're trying to find peace, and you're not only trying to find it white on white, but you can't find it whole because the inside of the last letter is missing. So you'll never be able to find it whole.
Okay.
So there's all these, you know, different inner meanings that are layers, I would say, that are to my art. And people have to remember they're tiny. You know, they're little tiny pieces, except for the Africa one. So people have to get super close to them to be able to see little tiny dots that are added. And I do that on purpose because I want people to
Exactly.
get up and close to them. I want them to really be a part of seeing it.